Geert Wilders has expressed his views about Islamists in Europe and has made a message to all of them in most of his speeches. In today's video, I will analyse everything G. Wilder said, but I want to note that not everyone will endorse or agree with the views expressed. Hence, this video is an analysis of what G. Wilder said about Islamists in Europe. So before we begin, if you've not already subscribed to our channel and ring the bell for upcoming updates. Now, let's begin with his first statement. In the first place, he said,
"Well, forget it. You are no Europeans, and you will never be.
The Turks and other Islamists in Europe. Your government is fooling you into believing that one day you will become a member of the European Union. Well, forget it. You are no Europeans, and you will never be." Looking at what he said. Simply residing in Europe does not automatically confer a European identity or culture. Islamist immigrants have fundamentally different cultural religious values that prevent full assimilation. Hence, granting EU citizenship to Islamists may be a threat to European identity and unity. Additionally, governments are being overly optimistic about the ability of Islamists to become full participants in European society, while ignoring the concerns of native European citizens. Also, granting EU citizenship to Islamists could give them disproportionate political influence because Islamist voting blocs could sway policies in ways that undermine European values and interests. On the other hand, critics argue that his statements appear to express a negative sentiment towards Islamists in Europe and the possibility of them becoming members of the European Union. His statements categorically state that Islamists in Europe are no Europeans, and they will never be. This is an exclusionary and prejudiced sentiment that denies the possibility of Islamists in Europe being accepted as European. Overall, the statements reflect an intolerant and biased perspective that rejects the idea of Islamists in Europe being accepted as full Europeans or potential EU members. The language used is divisive and dehumanizing rather than promoting understanding and inclusion. A more constructive approach would be to have a thoughtful dialogue about the complex issues of immigration identity and belonging in Europe. The second part of his statement says,
"An Islamic state like Turkey does not belong to Europe. All the values Europe stands for, freedom, democracy, human rights, are incompatible with Islam."
An Islamic state like Turkey does not belong to Europe. All the values Europe stands for, freedom, democracy, human rights, are incompatible with Islam. We do not want visa-free travel for Turks to Europe either. The key claims made in the statement are Turkey, as an Islamic state, does not belong in Europe. The core European values of freedom, democracy and human rights are incompatible with Islam. Europe should not allow visa-free travel for Turkish citizens. These claims reflect a few concerning themes. The statement categorically rejects the idea of a predominantly Muslim country like Turkey being part of Europe based solely on its Islamic identity. This reflects a bigoted view that Islam is inherently incompatible with European values, claiming that all of Islam is incompatible with democracy. Freedom and human rights is a vast oversimplification. The relationship between religion, culture and political systems is much more nuanced. The demand to deny visa-free travel for Turks suggests an exclusionary nationalist agenda that seeks to limit the mobility and integration of a specific ethnic religious group. Overall, critics argue that the statement promotes an intolerant, xenophobic and factually questionable perspective. It reflects a concerning trend of rising right-wing populism and Islamophobia. In parts of Europe, a more constructive approach would involve nuanced, evidence-based discussion of the challenges and potential paths forward for Turkey's relationship with the EU. His last statement states that
European governments that agree with this will be voted out of office by the people. Turkey voted for Erdogan, a dangerous Islamist who raises the flag of Islam. We do not want more, but less Islam.
European governments that agree with this will be voted out of office by the people. Turkey voted for Erdogan, a dangerous Islamist who raises the flag of Islam. We do not want more but less. Islam analysing the statement. The threat of governments being voted out suggests an attempt to pressure policymakers through fear-mongering rather than reasoned debate. Labelling Erdogan as a dangerous Islamist and calling for less Islam reflects an alarmist Islamophobic perspective. It presents Islam as an inherent threat rather than acknowledging its diversity. The claim that the people of Europe want less Islam implies a tyranny of the majority, disregarding the rights and perspectives of minority communities. Reducing Turkey's democratic process to a binary choice between Erdogan, the Islamist, and European interests is a gross oversimplification of a nuanced geopolitical situation. Overall, critics say the statement promotes an intolerant nationalist and factually dubious narrative. It reflects a concerning trend of right-wing populism that scapegoats minority groups and seeks to limit pluralism. A more constructive approach would involve nuanced evidence-based debate about the challenges and opportunities in Turkey-EU relations. What are your thoughts on this? Is he correct in what he said? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't also forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell for upcoming updates.